PFT on Yahoo Sports. Peter King, Mike Florio. Some of the biggest stories in the NFL. There's none bigger right now than the Dak Prescott injury. A gruesome and just horrifying situation for a quarterback who doesn't have a long-term deal. We don't know what his future is going to be. Surgery's been performed. He's already home from the hospital. And on Monday, Cowboys COO Stephen Jones called Dak Prescott the face of the franchise. So will the face of the franchise, Peter, still be employed by the franchise in 2021?
Mike, I think he will. I think there's two things to keep an eye on here in the next, I'd say, week or so. Number one, is there any infection that sets in the same way it did with Alex Smith that led to all the 18 surgeries for Alex Smith and now one of the great comebacks in NFL history? And let's just assume, optimistically, that there are no complications, that there are no infections. You wouldn't think they would have sent him home from the hospital if there was a chance for an infection, but we'll see. So let's just assume that this is, as has been reported, somewhere between a 4 and 8 month recovery period, with obviously a very, very important bone to a quarterback who's got to move around a lot and who's got to set his feet and throw the football. So what we're going to assume, Mike, is that he's going to be okay for opening day 2021. And if that is the case, I think there's a factor at play that nobody really considers, and that is the outpouring of love and affection and deep respect for Dak Prescott, not just from the 52 other guys in his locker room or his coaching staff. I've been stunned to see everybody around the league in other sports, all over Dallas. Everything is, oh man, we feel for you. This is awful. This is terrible. I've never seen a more empathetic response to an injury, Mike, in a long time that I've seen toward Dak Prescott. And so I think the Cowboys realize this. They know what an asset Dak Prescott is to their franchise as a leader and a player. And Mike, I believe that even if they don't get a contract done, they will re-up him in a bad situation for them cap-wise, with the cap going down to $175 million next year. They will re-up him even if it takes them $37 million.
Yeah, and that's the key. They have until late February to do a long-term deal. They can negotiate it now. They just can't sign it until after the season ends. But if they can't work it out, the ultimate leverage for Dak is to say, franchise tag me again. I'm guaranteed $37.68 million next year, regardless of where the cap goes. And as you said, it will be likely as low as $175 million. And the alternative, let the market determine my value. And Peter, I've looked around at the teams, and you project forward who's going to be looking for quarterbacks. And we don't even need to go any farther than the NFC East, because if the Giants and offensive coordinator Jason Garrett, if Washington, if maybe even Philadelphia would get a crack at Dak Prescott, they would crack open the vault and possibly offer more than the Cowboys. That's all the more reason for the Cowboys to make sure that never happens. If it takes 37.68, if there's no guarantee he's going to be healthy for week one, we just have to do it.
Yeah, and the one other thing I think to consider, Mike, is it's not just Dak Prescott competing against air. It's Dak Prescott competing against 3 top 10 quarterbacks in the draft next April. So, it's one thing if you're, let's say, the New York Giants and you have the first pick in the draft. I mean, what would you do? And I'm not saying you wouldn't go hard after Dak Prescott if you're disillusioned with Daniel Jones. What I am saying is that, contractually, financially, and in all ways, you might rather have Trevor Lawrence. But again, that's only one team. I think there would be suitors lined up to take a good shot at Dak Prescott.
There's going to be more teams looking for quarterbacks than there are Trevor Lawrences. And if Dak gets to the open market, we're going to find out what he's really worth. And that may be the thing that keeps the Cowboys from letting it happen. That's it for this edition of PFT on Yahoo Sports. We'll see you next time.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.